isn't that nice?
That's lovely.
That's just for me. It's my book of daily prayer from the Glenstall monks. And what I've done there is I've put some red sealing wax here, and these are 2 little slivers of tree bark from Africa that are embedded in it, and it gives me a kind of a little cross thing.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it's nice, isn't it? It's a little talisman of one's.
Yes, there you go.
You know, whatever. The Book of Glenstall Prayer, the daily book of prayer. Yeah, Benedictines. And as far as these things go, they're good because Benedict, the monk, said, "Come to me." He said, "I don't want you to believe in God, but I want to know you're searching for God."
Yeah.
Which is there is a subtlety there, and it's
right,
good.
Right.
This is Steve. This is Steve Eccles of Eccles Physiotherapy on the road down the old Warren Point Road, Newry. You'll get Steve on his website, beautifully created for him by Destination Newry's experts. By the way, are you putting our interviews onto your website?
Yes.
No. Oh, that's yes.
No. Well, they were being put on.
Yeah. They need to be.
For a while,
I would have thought they need to be. If they're not, we need to get that sorted, because goodness gracious, these are, people can get great succor from your words. You are a guru, and people will sit at your feet, and you will teach them what to do with their bad backs and the rest of it.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I was going to talk about headache caused by sore necks.
Wow. I know this thing because a very, very close person to me broke her neck in a car accident some years ago.
Yeah.
And she has pins in the vertebrae.
Yes.
Headache is a constancy with her. Sore neck is a constancy with her.
Yeah.
And almost she thinks she has to live with it.
Yeah. Well, I think, when there's a high-speed injury, when there's fractures and surgery, the outcome of therapy can be, can be hit and miss, I think.
Yeah, but
it's a more difficult problem.
It is, but I would still believe, and I've no basis for this, you're the expert, but I mean, I would still believe that if you have a situation of breakage, fracture, whatever, and it's successfully knitted together again in surgery, okay, there's a disruption of nerves and muscles and the rest of it, that it is better to work on that area, that site, and to make it productive, active, than do nothing.
No, you're right, but sometimes in particularly cervical fractures in the neck, they will often surgically stabilize it, so they'll stop you moving certain areas of the neck just to make it more stable. So those areas, maybe 1 or 2 vertebrae are pinned together so that they don't move. So then the vertebrae, the joints above and below, have a lot more to do. There's more torque on them, and so that they can suffer and produce pain as well.
My goodness. So what's to be done?
Well, I think first of all, there's we're just talking about regular headaches. We're not talking about exciting ones, where maybe you have a serious illness, meningitis, or tumors and things like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about low-grade aching headache. You can get this from tension, from dehydration, from being too, not eating enough in the day, or drinking too much the night before. Sort of regular humdrum things which can be often cured by getting more sleep and eating properly and hydrating properly.
But if it's skeletally related,
then it tends to be on one side, and it tends to be towards the back of the head or the side of the head, and it's usually associated with neck pain. So people might come and say, I've had headaches for months or years, and if they have associated stiffness, loss of range, pain down in the low back, in the low neck, in the upper neck, rather, then there's often a lot we can do. The pain is referred. You understand the concept of referred pain.
Referred pain. The seat of injury is not the seat of pain.
That's exactly right, and it's all down to our brains not being able to differentiate where exactly the pain's coming from. So with a lot of information coming to the brain, it just has a guess. For example, people with sciatica, low back pain,
yes,
but they can feel it down in their leg or their foot maybe, or a heart attack, left arm, jaw. So this is the same thing, and it's not because your particular brain doesn't work properly. It's humans. We're not very good at that. So we would then look at the neck and make sure and see if rotation perhaps or forward and backward bending, side bending are reduced on one side. And if so, then we've got a good chance of being able to do something about it by getting in there and moving. Yeah.
As I do that, I can actually hear.
Yes.
A scrunch. Can you hear anything when you do that?
Yes, occasionally. Yeah. And exceptionally young as we both are, yes, as long as there's no pain associated.
Oh, there's no pain at all.
Yeah.
And what is the crunch? Is that the cartilage?
I think it's just a little. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's really sure exactly what's causing the crunching. Maybe.
It's an amazing feeling. It's a crazy.
Everybody try that at home.
Yeah. No, don't try this at home. You might dislocate everything.
But when you were bending your head forward and backwards, if you turn sideways to me, no, to the camera. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. And you lift your head up and down, like that. Okay. And up and down. You can see that if the viewers look at your ear, the hole in your ear, let me just move here. If it moves forward and backwards, you're using your low neck. But if you just keep your head up and do that, okay, you can see that the ear isn't moving, and that's happening right up at the top of the neck.
See what I had been doing. I was doing that.
Yes.
That's not.
So it's this nodding, this high nodding, and if that's stiff and tight and causing pain, then again that's a sign that something in the upper neck is not right, and probably can be pretty easily worked on, and it's nice.
It is possible to gain progress with the skill, because I'm the living proof of it.
Yes, yeah.
The back, you worked on it a week ago when I went to you, and I was quite. It took some going to say to you, look, I need you to look at my back.
Yes, yeah.
And there was this constant pain here, referred pain, I rather think.
Yeah.
Because it was out in the musculature, out to the side, not on the skeleton itself. But you did whatever you did, and the next day it was very painful.
Right.
But in the week that followed the next day, there's been no pain.
Well, lovely, that's good.
So,
yes.
What do you sense you managed to do?
Well, I think we probably took joints that were stiff and painful and loosened them up. Just as, if you maybe, excuse me, if you maybe jar your finger and it's a little bit stiff, for a day or two you just leave it alone because it's painful. But then afterwards, the stiffness becomes the dominant feature, and then so during the day you'd be working away at that to try and loosen it up. But in the spine, because it's a chain of joints, it's hard to say, right, I want to move this particular joint, and also the spine has that lovely habit of muscle spasm. Try to hold joints still in a short term.
And that's a spasm.
Yes,
very painful.
Well, yes, and it's a short-term solution to a long-term problem, which doesn't work.
What about hands and arthritis? Do you come across that? Can you help people?
Occasionally, yes. I think you can. I mean, depending on what the cause of the arthritis is. If it's osteoarthritis, yes, we need to get it mobilized and loosened up. But if it's an inflammatory arthritis, like rheumatoid arthritis, then then drugs
Yeah.
from your doctor, a proper diagnosis. Because there's many different types of.
Hate drugs.
Yes, but if it meant the difference between you being able to use your hands and not being able to use
You left a thought with me when we were talking about arthritis. You said that sometimes there would be lumps which would be associated with something. Now,
Yes.
if you look here, and if you feel here in particular,
Yes.
now just dig in there, just here in this area.
Yes.
Dig in, you need to dig in.
Right.
You got the lump.
Yeah.
There's a few lumps there
Yeah.
that weren't there before.
Well, that may well be the tendon,
Yeah.
a lump in the tendon. You sometimes people can get a thing called trigger finger,
Yeah.
and there's a lump in the tendon, and there's a sheath that the lump's running in, that the tendon's running into, and so sometimes you'll get
it'll pull the finger down.
sticks.
Yeah.
The finger sticks and then jumps through.
Wow, I haven't had that
And,
experience. Yeah.
and generally a little cortisone.
There's no pain in
shot.
that, it's just a change,
Yeah.
you know?
I was also looking, now it doesn't look like there's wrinkling or gathering here.
No.
There's an interesting thing called Dupuytren's contracture.
Wow, Dupuytren's contracture.
Yes, and it's a tightening of there's a sheet of fascia underneath. Fascia is a kind of white gristly material, and there's a sheet of fascia running on the palm, and particularly these two fingers will be affected. So often in late middle age, where it becomes wrinkled and starts pulling the little finger, the two fingers in. Now, many doctors will tell you that there's nothing you can do, but I think you can. I think generally, if you feel that this is happening to you, obviously if you get to this point, you know, there's nothing you can do. But if every night, my mum had it, and I got her just to put her hand under her thigh like that for 5 or 10 minutes every night, and it just slowly stretches it out. It doesn't cure it, but it stretches it out enough that it never gets, and so she can still do that. Whereas officially she should be all twisted up. So if anyone's starting that, put your hand under here and stretch it just for while you're watching the TV for 10 minutes a night. Doesn't cost anything. It's easy,
and it helps maintain the.
And because
mobility.
this is just soft tissue, if you slowly stretch soft tissue, it will respond.
We've
nicely.
talked before about the desirability of exercise and keeping mobile. We talked about bicycling.
Right.
Bicycling. We talked about swimming.
Yeah.
It's one thing. It's one thing to commence the exercise.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be resolute and to continue doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the mental approach is very important here. That people need to have a great belief that they want to do this for the good of their overall well-being in the long term.
Yeah.
That's a big ask of a normal person's
way
of going.
People sometimes would ask me, what's the best exercise? And I wisely reply,
You know no
sagely. No, I think the best exercise is the one you enjoy the most.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what it is. If you enjoy it, it'll mean you'll do it.
Yeah.
If you hate,
you're addressing my point really.
If you hate going to the gym, then it's pointless because you'll pay your money, or you'll buy your bike, or you'll and then you'll not do anything with it. It'll just sit there and make you feel guilty. So if walking or I was driving past Camla Lake yesterday.
You saw me, did you?
I was treating.
I did 10 circuits yesterday.
Did you?
In the weather. That's the biggest lie I've told today
Excellent,
so far.
excellent.
But
I was proud.
I'm almost there because I got the wetsuit.
You don't need a wetsuit in Camla at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful out there.
And
Everybody get out there and have a swim. It's lovely.
Well, certainly the sea is very good.
Yes, the sea.
I love the sea at the moment. It's good.
But Camla has no jellyfish and it's warmer. So it was a lovely swim.
Wow. And you did take a swim, yeah?
I did, yes. I just swam out with shamefully, I only had my Speedos, you know. So,
Oh my God!
which should be illegal.
I think so.
But I apologise to everybody for that.
But one of the things I'd like to say, if I may, about swimming.
Yes.
Maybe distance or well, you know, and I know we're swimmers and we know about things.
Yes.
But and it'd be touch wood, be very unusual for anything untoward to happen to us.
Yes.
Would be, because we've been doing it over the years.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been a regular swimmer, if you
Yeah.
haven't been a survival swimmer,
Yes.
if you can do 10 lengths of the pool and then you're tired kind of
Yes,
thing,
not you.
even 100 lengths of the pool and then you're tired, if you can do, if that's where you are, I've seen people like this swim out to sea.
Yeah.
Now, the thing to do is to swim out a little bit and then swim parallel to the shore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parallel to the shore is a very, very good idea. And also I've seen people who want to go out to carry with them just a little ball, tie in a net, so that they're towing
Yes.
that, if you like.
Yeah.
And it's about that size.
Yeah.
And it gives them a flotation aid should they wish to relax and take a moment.
Yes,
that
a
kind
lot of.
thing.
I saw one swimmer yesterday with a proper buoy.
Yes.
That you tow. And it's got little handles on the side.
yeah.
And you could spend all afternoon out
Oh,
there
yeah.
with
you would
it.
lie on your back and you would
But
hold.
definitely, it is a sport or a pastime where you can get yourself into a lot of trouble.
Absolutely. But as long as folk are aware of that
Yeah, see,
and know the right thing to do.
Yeah, and know your limitations. You know, there's no, and even if you just go down to Camera Lake, there's a nice little jetty. You don't have to
Stay close to the
crawl
jetty.
over
Nope.
stones or anything like a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
You can have a nice little splash around and
That's nice.
family fun. It's lovely,
good.
and it's nice. You know, you always feel like you're abroad. You know, don't you? You know, you
Abroad
don't have
in
to go. Yeah.
Costa Camla, CC,
Yes, yeah,
Costa
yeah.
Camla. It's
Yes.
good there. Now, we find you on the Warren Point Road.
Yes, you do. Number
And you're
47.
down 47. You've just passed. You're just past Mr. Kyo's garage there. You're heading down the road towards Warren Point,
That's
the
right.
old road. You're maybe 100 yards past
I
Mr.
think
Kyo's.
it's 300 or 400 yards.
300 or 400 yards, and
On the
start
same
slow
side.
down on the same side. Slow down, and you'll come. There's a magnificent sign there in the hedge, and you'll see it. Eccles Physiotherapy.
Yes, and of course the website
The website
ecclesphysiotherapy.com.
ecclesphysiotherapy.com, and I am one of your patients, and he looks after me, and that takes some doing, I tell you. Is it a very fine specimen of a back that you work on?
Marvelous.
Marvelous back. It's good. It's good. I need to double check when your availability matches my availability.
You give me a call, and
I will.
we'll
That's
work it out.
Steve Eccles. That was a grand man you brought me last week.
It was, yes.
He's a man out of
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes, no, he's
Has he gone back to
he has.
California?
They went back yesterday. They were lovely visitors, but he's a really, really interesting man. and
California.
very intelligent, yeah.
Yeah.
And was showing me some research, you know, that he's been doing about the response to tumors
Yes.
to cannabis oil.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, sadly, he told a story of a child who had a tumor deep in the brain, and they couldn't do any surgery, and if they did radiation, they were going to damage a lot of the brain material around it. So you know, the parents had to make this dreadful choice, and they came to him, and he treated the small child with cannabis oil, and over 3 months, the tumor shrank and shrank until it was gone. And I said, well, what did the oncologists think about that? And he said, well, we didn't tell them because the parents were worried that social services would remove the child from them.
Oh my God.
You know, so there's these people making a dreadful decision
Yeah.
to save the life of their child, and they're worried that they're going to be penalized.
My God.
You know, I'm not interested in recreational drugs at all. And
No,
never really
no,
have
no,
been.
no.
But
I'm the
you know,
same.
if there's a drug that can be used to save people's lives and make people's lives, you know, more bearable, I don't see why we shouldn't use it.
I think government is thinking that way at the moment as
and
well.
if you look at some of the drugs that we give people for various diseases, I mean, they're dreadfully damaging, and this isn't.
No,
so,
I think it's.
But again, it's not something that I think it's dangerous for young people to use it recreationally, because
it's dreadful, because we had a coroner yesterday in Belfast talking about this ecstasy stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
And the coroner is saying that the youngsters are playing Russian roulette every time they use this, because they have no guarantee what's in it or whatever else.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we're saying is recreational drugs, evil, bad, don't go there. And then in concert, the medical use of cannabis, which exists in our society, that's something that even doctors will talk about. And
yes.
If you want, if you've got that kind of difficulty of excruciating ongoing pain, it's a conversation that you need to have with your GP.
Yes, I don't know the legalities of it in this country.
The GP is very clued up on it, and he will know.
Yeah,
and that's your first point of call. Eccles Physiotherapy. Thank you very much indeed.
You.
God bless
pleasure,
you.
My pleasure.
Go well.